Hello, everyone, and welcome to SunUp. I'm Lyndall Stout. We join you today from the OSU campus for the annual Rural Economic Outlook Conference. Lots of great topics on the agenda today, as well as great speakers, including Bart Fisher, a professor at Texas A&M, talking about the Farm Bill.
Sure. So, the last Farm Bill was the 2018 Farm Bill, signed into law in December of 2018, and it just expired just a few days ago at the end of September. And so all the attention right now is on, are we going to have a new one? When are we going to have a new one? If not, are we going to have an extension? And for my part right now, the biggest focus I would say is on the substance. It's much more important that we get the substance right, and that the timing of the Farm Bill takes a back seat. In part because of what we've seen over the last several years. When we passed the 2018 Farm Bill, we did not anticipate a pandemic coming at that point in time, and we certainly didn't anticipate what would happen to cost of production following the pandemic. And so we're in a situation now where the Farm Bill just hasn't kept up with the cost of doing business. You have growers out there who are putting an extraordinary amount of capital at risk to produce crops, and the safety net that's underlying all those crops is just not up to snuff. And so we've got an opportunity now to make some improvements. The challenge, though, is that everybody's seeing what's happening in Washington today. As you and I are talking, we're still trying to figure out who the speaker may be, and so there's a lot of other bigger picture issues that are stealing the limelight from the Farm Bill.
Gives our economists a lot to talk about, for sure. What kind of questions are you getting from producers and specifically things that might affect folks here in Oklahoma and in Texas?
Sure, and a lot of the Farm Bill does not, it doesn't require a lot of input, right? There's a lot of things that are working quite well in it. And one example I point to, early in my career, I had the good fortune of working for Chairman Lucas, right, from right here in Oklahoma. And one of the things that he included in that bill was the livestock forage program. We didn't anticipate, yes, we were in drought at the time, but we didn't anticipate how long that drought would last, and we certainly didn't anticipate that we would be hit with successive droughts after that. And so a program like LFP, and part of it because of his foresight, we permanently funded it in the 2014 Farm Bill, and we don't have to do that again. And so it's working quite well. And so mainly what we're focused on is the more traditional income support programs. Not to get way in the weeds, but for a lot of your listeners who deal with this, things like the Price Loss Coverage Program and the Agriculture Risk Coverage Program that were created under Mr. Lucas's bill, at the time, there was a lot of effort put into making sure that those support levels were set relative to cost of production, but the world's completely changed over the last 10 years. And so it's just time to take another look at it.
I'm sensing some optimism in what you're saying. Is that accurate?
I think so. I mean, look, we're not, I'm not naive to all of the challenges. I lived them for almost a decade, right, of trying to navigate farm bills through Congress. And so there's always challenges, but that's just part of the nature. One is the part of the nature of this country. Our country was designed, to be difficult to get through stuff, get stuff through Congress, because we didn't want things shoved through Congress, right? And so, it's a democratic process that takes lots of input. It's very messy. Some of it right now is very much self-inflicted, which seems a bit confusing, but I'm very optimistic. And one reason I am is because this Farm Bill is a bit unique in that several things have already been reauthorized. Crop insurance is often a big part of the conversation, and it's not to say it won't be this time, but it was reauthorized last fall with the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act. The president's signature climate legislation reauthorized almost all the conservation programs, and so that's been done. And so what it's really done is it's kind of brought the conversation to focus around Title I of the Farm Bill, which, despite the fact it's now a tiny share, it's still the historic reason, the fundamental reason why we have a Farm Bill and why we do them every 5 years, is to make sure the safety net is reflective of the risks being faced by growers.
You and your colleagues and peers from other schools put out information all the time. Tell us about what that is and how we can find it.
Sure. So a little bit over a year ago, we started a new effort called Southern Ag Today, and so it's at the website southernagtoday.org. And it's just a daily email, and part of it grew, one, just out of a need to communicate, but probably the signature feature of it is that it's a group effort across all 13 Southern land grant universities, including the 1890. We work with a lot of 1890 land grant universities as well, mainly through the extension service, and it's an outlet for those groups to be able to band together and communicate on topics. And so on Mondays we do crop marketing, Tuesdays we do livestock marketing, Wednesdays we do farm management. Thursdays is ag policy and trade. That's primarily where I write. And on Fridays is miscellaneous topics like ag law, things like WOTUS or Prop 12 out in California, where we'll weigh in on those topics.
Bart, thanks so much for being with us. Great information about the Farm Bill, and of course we enjoyed your presentation today at the conference.
You bet. Thanks, Lyndall.
And for a link to the newsletter sign up, just go to sunup.okstate.edu.